So 1846 and 1847 was when the Irish potato famine had hit, even though they had all these other poultry, cows, grain, and but the landlords didn't want to. The demand for all these products was good for the landlords because a high demand means a higher price and a higher reward. But if they go around just passing it out, then that would that would lower the demand, and they didn't want to do that. So the same thing with the Okies and the Grapes of Wrath. I couldn't figure out that book from last time, but it was the Grapes of Wrath. It was just like them. So the Irish peasants come over to America in the 1840s, 1850s, and then the white people here, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, are sitting there just, just discriminating against them and torturing them and burning them down in the beds where they sleep. At least that's what they did here in Louisville in the 1855 Know Nothing riots on Bloody Sunday, or Bloody Monday. It was Bloody Monday. Okay, so conclusions. What is the point of all my videos? What am I doing? What is it? Okay, so I'm going to go with the story, and then I'm going to break from the story out. Okay, so in the Mayans of Central American honor, the Mayans come out of Mexico, I think. Man, I want to think it's the Aztecs. I don't know. It's Central America. Damn it, this is bad. But okay, I think it's definitely Central America. I wanted to say that it's in Mexico, but I can't be 100% sure on that because the Aztecs were there, and I think it might be off to the side, like in Guatemala, or I don't know. Central America, you got the Mayans, and there's this big-ass coliseum. It's called El Castillo, and they still actually honor the spring equinox even today. This year is the 14th annual spring equinox at the Chichen Itza, okay? And it's this big-ass column that just goes up. It has four ways of stairs that you can go up, and it just goes, it's like ever increasing. It just gets sharper and sharper and sharper and sharper, and then there's the very top of it. Now, the way it was constructed intentionally for the sunlight in the spring and the fall equinoxes and the winter and summer solstices. So it was specifically created for that. That's why they have celebrations. There's the 14th annual spring equinox at the Chichen Itza and the Dizibil Shaltum with Uxmal, Labna, Kabah, Koba, Ek, Balam, and more from March 18th to 22nd, 2014. Folks will go to El Castillo and witness the wonder of Mayan astronomical accuracy and the phenomena of the sunrise at the Temple of the Dolls in Dizibil Chatham and the descension of the feathered serpent's shadow at the Great Pyramid of Chichen Itza. El Castillo in Spanish, the castle, looms at the center of Chichen Itza, a 79-foot pyramid of stone, also known as the Pyramid of Kukulkan. The structure embodies Mayan myth along with natural astronomical cycles. So Kukulkan, right? The Pyramid of Kukulkan. The phenomenon that El Castillo is famous for occurs twice each year at the spring and fall equinoxes. In fact, the effect is viewable for a week before and after each equinox. As the equinox sun sets, a play of light and shadow creates the appearance of a snake that gradually undulates down the stairway of the pyramid. This diamond-backed snake is composed of 7 or so triangular shadows cast by the stepped terraces of the pyramid. The sinking sun seems to give life to the sinuous shadows, strong shadows, which makes a decidedly snaky pattern on their way down the stairs. Other features of El Castillo suggest astronomical understanding and intent on part of the Mayan builders. The structure as a whole seems to be aligned with an important astronomical axis. The west plane of the pyramid faces the zenith passage sunset. Meanwhile, each of the 4 exceedingly steep stairways that climb the pyramid has 91 steps, with the final step at the top making a total of 365, the number of days in the solar year. 91 is also the number of steps that separate each of the 4 phases of the annual solar cycle: winter solstice, spring equinox, summer solstice, and fall equinox. All 91 days. Using the patterns of light and shadow appearing on El Castillo throughout the year, the Maya could easily have tracked the seasons and marked these 4 annual solar events, the 2 solstices and 2 equinoxes. And so it seems that the ancient Maya may have used this structure as, among other things, a calendar to signal appropriate times to plant, harvest, and perform ceremonies. Other holidays that correspond to the 4 seasons, you got Christmas, Groundhog's Day, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and a lesser respect, Easter and Passover. Exodus chapter 13, verse 4 to 7 declares, on this day in early spring, in the month of Abib, you have been set free. Number 5, you're leaving in the spring month of Abib, and God brings you into the land of the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite, which he promised to your fathers to give you a land lavish with milk and honey. You're to observe this service during this month. 6th verse, you're to eat unraised bread for 7 days. On the 7th day, there's a festival celebration to God. Number 7, only unraised bread is to be eaten for 7 days. There is not to be a trace of anything fermented. No yeast anywhere. Okay, so this is Exodus chapter 13, verse 4 through 7 is where we get the the commandment to have a Passover / Easter. That's totally consistent with the spring equinox in the month of the spring is what it demands in Exodus. Christmas is the winter solstice, right? So that's when the days and the nights are going to be different. It's basically the middle of winter, right? The winter solstice. Groundhog's Day is the midpoint between the winter solstice and spring equinox, and Halloween is kind of the midpoint between fall equinox and the winter solstice. Kind of Thanksgiving too. The Protestants believe that if you celebrate any of these Catholic pagan holidays, then you're going to burn in hell. So that's Easter, that's Christmas. Back in the days of the Puritans, if you celebrated Christmas, they would actually fine you 5 shillings. They thought that that was a pagan. A lot of people, a lot of them still believe it's a pagan practice today. So, let's see. The Protestants believe if you celebrate these Catholic pagan holidays, you'll burn in hell forever because you got false idols, just like the golden calf in Moses' story. So this all goes to all secularists and Catholics who celebrate Christmas, Easter, St. Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Christopher Columbus Day. But ultimately, who gives a shit? Because religion itself is slavery. Religion itself is slavery. So, so what, right? So what? All the fucking holidays are a bunch of fucking lies. So, what are we supposed to do on St. Patrick's Day? It's the beginning of spring. We can't celebrate this fucking, Patrick, maybe he saved the fucking writings, but he didn't save the writings of the Druids, so he basically wipes out an entire culture. I don't like this. Ireland makes me think of Palestine or the Native Americans. You go in there, you try to wipe everybody out, and then that you do establish your own culture. Iraq, what America did to Iraq. So we can't. He might be important for the history of like saving fucking the writings and shit, but in terms of anything else, fuck Patrick. Okay, Saint Patricius, that motherfucker he can go to hell, right? He burned his mass, so that started out to be a good thing, but he just went overboard and he had to wipe out everybody, right? He just couldn't help himself. So, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? It's springtime, and if we can't celebrate on Patrick's Day, what are we supposed to do for this holiday? I think that we should still keep the Irishness of the holiday, and I think we should also celebrate spring. I think we got 2 elements here that both are equal and both are important. So, we should keep on celebrating Irish Americans and everything that's Irish, okay? So that's essentially what St. Patrick's Day is anyways. Green beer, leprechauns, 4-leaf clovers, talking in in a weird-ass accent, getting drunk, right, getting into fights, the stereotypical way of people think about Irish Americans. We could actually put more thought into it, though. Instead of just celebrating Irish Americans, the stereotypical ones, we can actually talk about things that we know. Who are the Irish Americans that we know? And we could pick just different heroes and stories that are better than Patrick's that are directly from Ireland, okay? So here's some heroes that are directly from Ireland, and then I'm going to have some that Irish American list too. So the Irish people, famous Irish people, we got Michael Collins, Jonathan Swift, James Joyce, Sinead O'Connor, Michael Scott, Dennis Leary, Bill Burr. Wait, Dennis Leary and Bill Burr. Okay, I might have mixed some of these actually up, okay? So some of these are people from Ireland and some of these are here from America. Okay, and you'll have to determine, but they're all Irish, right, or of Irish descent. Michael Scott is of, that's an architect. Dennis Leary, Bill Burr, comedians. F. Scott Fitzgerald is an Irish author. Bram Stoker, George Bernard Shaw, Arthur Guinness, Colin Farrell, Pierce Brosnan, David J. O'Reilly, Richard O'Keefe, Mother Jones, Frank McCourt, Peter O'Toole, William Butler Yeats, Patrick Pierce, James Connolly, Oscar Wilde, Thomas James Clark, Sean McDermott, John McBride, Cillian Murphy, Padraic Delaney, Dr. Damien O'Donovan, or the IRA during the Easter Uprising. We could celebrate that. We could perhaps the Celtic pagans or the Druids themselves. We could have a resurrection of their cultures, you know, recultural generation of how we think of it, or from the Irish Americans themselves. Joe Kennedy was an Irish American, the father of JFK and RFK. Jackie O, Gene Kelly, Harrison Ford, Kurt Cobain, Neil Armstrong, Jack Welch, Henry Ford, Walt Disney, Alfred Hitchcock, Michael Moore, Regis Philbin, Bill O'Reilly, Tim Russert, Ed Sullivan, Muhammad Ali, Michael Phelps, Andrew Jackson, James Knox Polk, William McKinley, Teddy Roosevelt, William Howard Taft, Woodrow Wilson, Harry S. Truman, Richard Nixon, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, Daddy Bush, Bill Clinton, Baby Bush, Barack Obama, Jack Dempsey, John Elway, Derek Jeter, Shaquille O'Neal, Christina Aguilera, Judy Garland, Bing Crosby, Mariah Carey, Nick Carter, Hilary Duff, Rosemary Clooney, Beyonce, Jim Morrison, Rihanna, Britney Spears, Katy Perry, Gwen Stefani, Justin Timberlake, Shania Twain, Tim McGraw, Elvis Presley, Joe Biden, Richard Daley, Huey Long, Robert McNamara, Sarah Palin, and Paul Ryan. So we can celebrate any one of them people in exchange for Patrick. Fuck Patrick. You know, I really liked actually Dr. Damien O'Donovan, which comes from the movie The Wind That Shakes the Barley, which has an 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a badass fucking film. Not only is it badass because of the revolution that they had fought, but also because of the Civil War that had happened after the revolution. Right? So there were some that had placated and become apologists for the throne and for those oppressors, and then there were some that were true revolutionaries who wanted a complete free Ireland. But they were the ones that was gunned down. That's Dr. Damien O'Donovan. Dr. Damien O'Donovan was gunned down in the movie. It's a fictional movie. But there's also Michael Collins, which is based on the Easter Uprising. And there's a Bloody Sunday movie, which I'm going to be checking out soon. There's also James Cagney, Shake Hands with the Devil. So these are some movies we could watch. Watch some Irish movies, sing Irish songs, you know, do other things Irish, not just get drunk and act a fool, but maybe actually, you know, add some cultural elements into it instead of just being, you know, an ugly American, which we're already good at being. And the Irish, you know, Festival Day just gives us a reason to be that ugly American. Let's actually, we can learn the Gaelic tongue, right? The Gaelic tongue. We could actually, there's a an Irish language we could learn. So we can celebrate the Irishness of it. We can bring the Irish back to life. You know, we can respect them. We could also just celebrate this day as a great vernal spring equinox holiday festival party feast, right? Just like the Mayans celebrate the 4 seasons, just like the native Irish Celtic Druids did, since springtime, just like any other reason, is a great reason to party. It's fucking spring, okay? It's fucking springtime, so let's be happy that it's fucking spring. So yeah, it's the spring equinox, you know, it's the spring equinox, and that's what St. Patrick's Day is. And being Irish, right, is all good. There's a song, there's an Irish lullaby. I like the lyrics to it. It's like, I'm going to just try it. It's only a short little thing, but it's like, it's too-ra-loo-ra-loo-ra, too-ra-loo-ra-la. They say I don't like singing too much, but I'm going to try it anyways, because I'm getting my Irish on, okay? So, too-ra-loo-ra-loo-ra. This fucking ad's in the way. Get out of this. Get out of the ad. I should definitely have worked on this a little better. Okay, so I got a minute. Too-ra-loo-ra-loo-ra, too-ra-loo-ra-la. Hush, now don't you cry. Too-ra-loo-ra-loo-ra, too-ra-loo-ra-la, too-ra-loo-ra-loo-ra. That's an Irish lullaby. So it starts out like, over in Killarney. Over in Killarney, many years ago, my mother sang a song to me in tones so sweet and low, just a simple little ditty in her good old Irish way, and I'd give the world if I could hear that song of her today. Too-ra-loo-ra-loo-ra, too-ra-loo-ra-la, too-ra-loo-ra-loo-ra. Hush, now don't you cry. Too-ra-loo-la-ra-loo-ra, too-ra-loo-ra-la. Tooraloo-ra-loo-ra. Hush now. That's an Irish lullaby. So, happy Irish Day. Let's bring it back. Happy Joe Kennedy Day, okay? Happy Joe Kennedy Day. Or happy, let's go fucking watch The Wind That Shakes the Barley. Badass movie. The Wind That Shakes the Barley. Every St. Patrick, watch that movie.